Good morning, and welcome to the CalPERS video Retiree Refresher. If you've recently retired or have been retired for some time, the information in this presentation should be useful. Before we get to the main presentation, let's take care of some housekeeping items. To provide you with a future reference and make your note-taking easier, we've provided a learning guide for this presentation. You'll see the link to the learning guide in the YouTube description box. This video will stay posted here on YouTube so you can come back and watch again if you need to. Please note that due to the large number of participants, even though the chat feature is active, we won't be able to respond to member questions during this video. In today's presentation, we'll discuss several topics including your retirement check, health and dental benefits for those who are eligible, working after service retirement, the CalPERS Special Power of Attorney, beneficiary changes, and more. So let's begin by discussing your retirement check. Your retirement benefits are paid at the beginning of each month for the previous month. For example, a payment received at the beginning of June is for your May benefits. Your check is issued by the State Controller's Office, so they determine the mailing and direct deposit dates. They are no longer mailing paper statements to those with direct deposit. If you need to view or print recent benefit statements, log into your MyCalPERS account or call us at 888-CalPERS, which is 888-225-7377. If you have direct deposit, your financial institution has until the close of the direct deposit date to put the funds in your account. If your retirement check is mailed to you, but you haven't received by the 6th of the month, you can contact us to place a stop payment on it and have it reissued. You can find the retirement check paydays on our website under the Retiree tab. Select retirement checks, then paydays. Many of you will see deductions coming out of your retirement check. Some deductions are automatic, such as your CalPERS health and/or dental insurance premiums. Also, any service credit purchase payments you may still have. Court-ordered child or spousal supports payments, or liens and levies related to the Internal Revenue Service or State Franchise Tax Board. You may also have optional deductions that were authorized by you. These can include non-CalPERS health, dental, or vision premiums, life insurance premiums, or union dues. To start or stop these types of voluntary deductions, you must contact the organization the payment is going to. They will then contact us. Direct deposit ensures that your monthly payments are automatically and securely deposited at your financial institution. It offers you a reduced risk of loss, theft, or possible forgery of your retirement check. It also offers immediate availability of funds when you're away from home or unable to receive mail, for example, during a natural disaster. If your account is in a trust account, you can set up your direct deposit online only if you or you and your spouse are the trustees of your own trust. For example, John Smith is the trustee for the John Smith Family Trust. If you don't want to do it online, you can also send us the direct deposit authorization, the request for payment of monthly allowance to trust forms, and a copy of certification of trust found in your trust document. If someone else is the trustee of your trust, for example, Jane Jones is the successor trustee of the John Smith Family Trust, then that person will need to submit the direct deposit authorization form and the certification of trust and request for continued payment of monthly allowance to a trust form. In this case, direct deposit cannot be set up or changed online. You may request direct deposit at the time of retirement or any time thereafter. You can set up your direct deposit in your MyCalPERS account or by completing the direct deposit authorization form. When you log into your account, you can change or cancel your direct deposit at any time by selecting retirement, then payment options. At the end of the process, you'll be provided with the effective date of your changes. Generally, MyCalPERS is the quickest way to make this change. If you're changing your direct deposit to a new account, you may want to leave your current account open until you're sure your funds are going to the new account. If you're changing your account due to fraud, you probably won't leave your old account open. Contact us immediately if this is your situation. If the financial institution has already returned your deposit, we'll send a replacement check to your home. Depending on when we receive your updated direct deposit, you may need to receive a paper check until the new account information can be updated. When you receive either a paper check or have direct deposit, you'll also get a benefit statement. This statement shows any deductions you have, taxes withheld, or cost of living adjustment amounts. If you have direct deposit, you have the option of receiving your check statement by mail or through your MyCalPERS account. Even if you receive your check by mail, you can still access your statement online. A nice feature is that you can view the past 4 years of your statements under the Statements section. Once you retire, you may decide to move across town or across the country. If you provide your updated address before the 5th day of the month, your next retirement check will be sent to your new address. It's important to update your address with us as soon as possible. CalPERS services and benefits, like a mailed retirement check or your CalPERS health benefits, can be affected by an address change. If you have CalPERS long-term care, you should also notify them of the change. If you provide your new address after the 5th day of the month, we may not be able to send your next check to your new address. You should file a mail forwarding request with the United States Postal Service. Your check will only be forwarded if you have a valid forwarding request on file with them.
If you are retired and have recently moved or are planning to move, you can let us know your new address by updating it online through your MyCalPERS account or calling us at 888-CalPERS, which is 888-225-7377. You can also complete and submit an address change authorization form.
Let's talk a little about community property. If you get divorced and your ex-spouse or registered domestic partner is entitled to a portion of your CalPERS retirement, you should notify us as soon as possible. A community property case may also affect other benefits you may have through us, such as health or dental benefits. For example, if you get divorced, you must remove your ex-spouse or domestic partner from your health or dental benefits. We have 2 publications that can assist you in navigating community property with respect to CalPERS. First is Publication 38A, a Guide to CalPERS Community Property, and second is Publication 38B, the Community Property Model Domestic Relation Orders. Taxes are a type of deduction you may see coming out of your retirement check. When you retired, you probably chose whether or not you were going to have federal and California state taxes withheld from your retirement check. Most retirement income is fully taxable, but there are a few exceptions, including some or all of an industrial disability retirement or after-tax contributions that you're collecting as part of your monthly allowance. If you wish to withhold federal income taxes from your retirement, you must do so by using the tax tables. You cannot withhold a flat dollar amount. If you wish to withhold California state taxes, you can do so by using the tax tables or by requesting to withhold a flat dollar amount. If you move out of California and are not required to pay California state taxes, you must change your tax withholding to stop California state taxes from being taken out. We cannot withhold taxes for another state.
Once you're retired, changing your tax withholding can be done anytime in your MyCalPERS account. On your homepage, select Change Tax Withholdings.
The link brings you to the Tax Withholdings page. You'll then be able to change your federal withholding, your state withholding, or both. When you complete the process, you'll be provided with the effective date of your changes. You can also change your tax withholding by submitting the tax withholding election form, but it may take longer for you to see your changes. If you have any questions about the amount you should be withholding, contact a tax professional. We're required to report your retirement income to the IRS and, if in California, the Franchise Tax Board. In late January, we'll send you a Form 1099-R. It's also available in your MyCalPERS account under the Statements tab. This form not only shows the total amount distributed within the tax year, but also shows how much of the distribution was taxable and the amounts withheld. If you receive an industrial disability retirement, your allowance may not be taxable, but you'll still receive a 1099-R form each year. In this case, the taxable amount will be 0. If a portion of your industrial disability retirement is taxable, the amount will appear on your form. We're often asked if there are any increases to your retirement check after you retire. The answer is yes. and the cost of living adjustment, which we call the COLA, is one of the possible increases. The COLA may increase your pension in retirement and is based on the Consumer Price Index for all urban consumers, which determines the rate of inflation, your employer's contract, and the year you retired. So how much is the COLA? The COLA is a maximum of 2% for state and school members. For public agency members, it's usually 2% but can be up to 5% depending on the contract. Just because you're contracted for 2 to 5% doesn't mean you'll actually receive that much. We'll pay either the contracted amount or the amount of inflation, whichever is less.
So when might you get a cost of living adjustment? You are eligible for a COLA the second calendar year after you retire, and any COLA you receive will appear on your May retirement check. For example, if your retirement date was December 31st, 2023, you're eligible for your first cost of living adjustment on May 1, 2025. But if you retire just one day later on January 1, 2024, or any time in 2024, you won't receive a cost of living adjustment until May 1, 2026. Keep in mind, the cost of living adjustment is not guaranteed. There are reasons that you may not receive an increase, such as deflation, or if inflation is less than 1%.
We have several resources on our website regarding the COLA. On the COLA page, you'll find the link to the Consumer Price Index. We also have a chart where you can find out how much your COLA percentage is going to be and an explanation of how the COLA is calculated. All of this information and more can be found on our website by selecting the Retiree tab, then Cost of Living, and then the Cost of Living Adjustment COLA link. Whether for a loan, housing, or for a variety of other reasons, we often receive calls from members asking for a letter that shows how much their lifetime benefit is. These letters are called verification of income letters, and in most cases, you don't need to call us to get one. You can generate and download your own letter from your MyCalPERS account. Let's take a look. Once you've logged into your MyCalPERS account, select Request a Verification of Income or Social Security Breakdown Letter on your homepage. When you select the link, you're brought to the Request a Document page. You can choose to generate a Verification of Income letter or a Social Security Breakdown letter. You may be wondering, what's the difference between the two? A Verification of Income letter shows your current gross monthly amount and the duration of the payment. The income amount is comprised of your base allowance and any cost of living adjustments you received. What isn't included is any Medicare reimbursement you may receive. Medicare reimbursements are only available to some state and California State University retirees, but we'll talk about that a little bit later. This is by far our most requested letter, and in many cases, this is all you'll need. A Social Security Breakdown letter is requested when Social Security wants to see the amount of your CalPERS retirement for a specific time period. For example, from February 1st, 2016 through June 1st, 2017. Once you've completed your request for either letter, you'll be able to download your completed letter. You can print, email, or save it to your computer, but it will also remain in your MyCalPERS account for future reference. These two letters are what you're able to download from your MyCalPERS account at this time. If you need a more customized letter, give us a call to request the information you need. We get a lot of questions from retirees who want health benefits through CalPERS. It's possible to enroll in CalPERS health benefits after retirement, but only if your former employer contracts with us for it and you're eligible for health at the time of your retirement. State and California State University contract with us for health benefits. But if you're a public agency or school retiree, your health benefits may not be through us. Check with your employer regarding health plan options in retirement. Also, for public agency and school members, if your employer ceases to contract for health benefits with us at any time, your health benefits through us will be canceled and you'll need to contact your former employer to see what health plans will be offered, if any. Now let's talk about open enrollment. Open enrollment occurs in the fall of each year. During this period, you can enroll in a health plan, change your health plan, and you can add eligible dependents. All changes made during open enrollment are effective January 1st of the following year. And as a retiree, you can make many open enrollment changes in your MyCalPERS account. Outside of open enrollment, you can also make health plan changes when you move or if you or a dependent enrolls in a managed or supplemental Medicare plan. Make these changes within 60 days from the event. Eligible dependents can be added to your current plan when you get married or registered in a domestic partnership, or upon the birth or adoption of a child, and, like we mentioned earlier, during open enrollment. When adding a dependent, there may be supporting documents like a marriage, birth certificate, or Medicare card that you'll need to submit to complete the enrollment process. You can read our health program guide to find out more about enrolling a dependent. Dependents can be deleted at any time, but there are times when a deletion is mandatory. For example, when your dependent child turns 26, they are no longer able to be covered under your CalPERS-sponsored health or dental plans. This deletion is mandatory and automatic unless they can be certified as a disabled dependent. Let's talk a little bit about dental and vision for state and California State University retirees. You can make changes to your plan or add dependents during the open enrollment period or if a qualifying event occurs. Some qualifying events are marriage, the birth of a child, or moving. To make changes to your dental plan, you'll need to contact us. You'll need to contact Vision Services Plan, or VSP, directly at 800-877-7195 to make any changes. Retirees commit to a minimum of a 12-month enrollment during open enrollment and can only cancel if a permitting event occurs. If you sign up at the time of retirement, the commitment will be for 12 months plus the time until the next open enrollment period. If you're on Medicare and in an eligible CalPERS-sponsored health plan such as Kaiser Permanente Senior Advantage, Anthem Blue Cross, or United Healthcare, then you may enroll in the dental and vision rider plan offered by those plans. While the initial enrollment is done by CalPERS, there may be additional paperwork you'll need to complete with the plan. You're billed for these services directly by the plan. You have the option to enroll in their dental and vision plans during open enrollment or upon a qualifying event. Cancellation of the dental and vision plans are only allowed during open enrollment or upon a qualifying event. In your MyCalPERS account, under the Health drop-down tab, the Health Summary page shows your current health and dental plans, deductions, and who's currently enrolled. Use the Search Health Plans tool to compare plans side by side to determine which plan is the best for you. You can review our health publications, evidence of coverage publications for our health plans, or our health plan rates and state contributions by visiting our website. Select the Retiree tab at the top, then Health and Medicare, and finally, Retiree Plans and Rates. When you or your dependents turn age 65, you or they may become eligible for Medicare. Did you know that you can enroll up to 90 days prior to your 65th birthday? Contact the Social Security Administration to determine if you or your dependents are eligible for Medicare Parts A and B. If you're younger than age 65 and receiving Social Security because of a disability, you should contact Social Security to see if you're eligible for Medicare. Once retired, state law requires that you and your dependents who are enrolled in a CalPERS-sponsored health plan and eligible for premium-free Part A must enroll in Medicare Parts A and B and be placed into a CalPERS Medicare plan. Much of the time, we're able to get your Medicare information directly from the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services, and there's nothing you need to do to coordinate your coverage. Generally, this is the case if you enroll in Medicare 60 days or more prior to your 65th birthday. If you enroll less than 60 days prior to your 65th birthday, or if we're unable to get your information electronically, then you'll need to send us the Certification of Medicare Status form and a copy of your Medicare card. If you aren't eligible for premium-free Part A, or if you're deferring Part B enrollment because you're working beyond age 65 and have health coverage through you or your spouse's employer group health plan, complete the Ineligibility of Medicare Certification form. Documentation supporting your ineligibility, like a letter from Social Security or proof you're enrolled in your employer group health plan, will be required. Enrolling in Medicare can be complicated, So there are several resources you can use for more information. We suggest you talk to the Social Security Administration for enrollment information and read our publication, The Medicare Enrollment Guide. We also have a great video entitled Medicare and Your CalPERS Health Benefits that will talk more about coordinating your CalPERS health benefits with Medicare. You can also visit www.medicare.gov, which is another great resource for Medicare information. Medicare reimbursement is the difference between what the state pays towards your health benefits and the Part B premium. This benefit is available to state and California State University retirees only and is dependent upon the date you were first hired by the state and your bargaining unit. Reimbursement cannot exceed the difference between the state's contribution and the plan premium. If the plan premium is higher than the employer contribution, then there is no reimbursement. You may be eligible for an increased reimbursement based on the Income-Related Monthly Adjustment Amount, or IRMA. IRMA means that you are paying a higher Medicare Part B premium because your income is higher. If you think this applies to you, send us a copy of the entire Social Security letter showing your IRMA determination and increased Part B premium amount. If you'd like more information about Medicare coordination or the Medicare reimbursement, visit the Medicare page on our website or read our Medicare Enrollment Guide. As you can see, not everyone is eligible for Medicare reimbursement. If you're not sure if you qualify, call us and we can review your eligibility. Even though you are retired, you may decide that you want to return to work. As a retiree on a service retirement, you can be self-employed or work for a non-CalPERS employer without limitations or restrictions. If you return to work with a CalPERS covered employer, you can work as a retired annuitant or reinstate as an active CalPERS member. If you return to work for a CalPERS employer, you need to be aware of some restrictions. You must wait 180 days before your return to work, although some exceptions may apply. Even if you are exempt from the 180-day waiting period, you may still be subject to a 60-day bona fide separation of service retirement. This 60-day separation of service limitation applies if you are under your normal retirement age. Your normal retirement age is dictated by your retirement formula. For example, if you have a 2% at 55 retirement formula, then your normal retirement age is 55. The position must be temporary. You may work only up to 960 hours in a fiscal year. If you work temporarily for a CalPERS employer as a retired annuitant, you don't earn service credit or any additional retirement benefits. You apply for temporary positions directly through the employer. They decide whether or not to hire you. Before accepting employment with any employer, it's your responsibility to ask them if they contract with CalPERS for retirement benefits and to inform them that you are a CalPERS retiree. Once you're hired, both you and your employer are responsible for ensuring that your employment remains in compliance with CalPERS rules and state law. You want to make sure that your employment doesn't jeopardize your retirement benefits. If your employment violates our rules or state law, it can result in your mandatory reinstatement from retirement, retroactive to the date that your unlawful employment began. This could result in financial hardship. You would be required to return your pension that you received while in violation, and you and the employer would be required to pay any retirement contributions for that same period. You are able to keep track of your hours working as a retired annuitant in your MyCalPERS account on the Retired Annuitant Hours page. Your employer is responsible for reporting your hours to us, and the hours reflected here are based on that reporting. You and your employer should keep track of these hours very carefully. We may consider positions with third-party employers or independent contractors to be employee-employer relationships and, therefore, subject to the rules regarding returning to work from retirement. Submit a copy of the employment contract to us so that we may review it before you accept the job. If you would like additional information about working after retirement, including working after disability or industrial disability retirement, please review our publication, Employment After Retirement. Another option is to reinstate into a permanent position for a CalPERS employer. When you reinstate from retirement, your retirement benefits stop and you become an active member again. You earn more service credit, and you can retire again at a later date. Reinstatement and re-retirement could affect other benefits such as health benefits or golden handshakes received. Reinstatement is required for all permanent positions, even if the position requires less than 960 hours of work in a fiscal year. To voluntarily reinstate from retirement into active employment with a CalPERS-covered employer, you must complete the form located in the publication Reinstatement from Retirement. Submit the completed form to us once you have a firm start or hire date from the employer. Next, let's discuss the CalPERS Special Power of Attorney. You may already have a durable power of attorney set up through another resource. However, it may not address your CalPERS retirement. The CalPERS Special Power of Attorney allows you to designate someone, called your attorney-in-fact, to handle your CalPERS retirement issues for you. This form cannot be used to grant authority over medical decisions. It cannot be used for real or personal property decisions, and becomes invalid upon your death. Additionally, when you sign up for My CalPERS, part of the terms and conditions state that only you will be accessing your account. Therefore, your attorney-in-fact does not have the authority to access your online My CalPERS account. They will need to contact us by phone or in writing. The CalPERS Special Power of Attorney form is specifically designed to help manage CalPERS retirement issues, but we will also accept other power of attorney documents that specifically grant authority to conduct business with us. If your power of attorney document does not contain a durability clause, we won't be able to honor it if you become incapacitated. Having this form on file may allow your attorney-in-fact to perform duties that include changing your address, requesting information about your retirement check or other retirement benefits, changing your tax withholding, and finally, designating beneficiaries. It's important to note that if you do not grant this specific authority, they cannot designate or change your beneficiary. They are also not permitted to designate themselves as a beneficiary unless you specifically authorize it on the form. Let me tell you a quick story before we continue that will hopefully illustrate the importance of having a power of attorney on file. I used to work in the CalPERS call center and have taken thousands of calls. Some of those calls would be from family members trying to get information about a member's account because the member was unable to do that for themselves. I took a call from a spouse of a retired CalPERS member. He was very upset because his wife was in the hospital and couldn't speak with me. The bank account her retirement check was being deposited into had been compromised, so he was calling to find out how to change her account number. They were on a fixed income, so going without her retirement check would be extreme hardship. Unfortunately, there was no power of attorney on file, so I couldn't help him over the phone. The member had a power of attorney and her husband was able to get a copy of it to us, but I would have been able to help him much faster if it was already on file. You may have a power of attorney, but it's important that we have a copy of it. If it's a non-CalPERS power of attorney, we need to be able to review it to make sure it can be used for CalPERS business. Reviewing a power of attorney, even if it's ours, can take a couple months to do, so the sooner we have it on file, the better. If you need to update your CalPERS Special Power of Attorney form, you must complete and submit to us a new form with the changes you desire. You should inform those who may have a copy of the old form that it is no longer valid and that copies of the old form be returned to you or destroyed. Finally, you should provide copies of the new power of attorney to those people who may need to carry out your wishes. If you haven't executed and submitted a new form but wish to cancel the one we have on file, you must notify us in writing. Your cancellation will not be effective until we receive your written request. We recommend submitting a new power of attorney form to replace the previous one. When you retired, you chose a retirement option, and depending on the option you chose, you had to decide on a beneficiary. Did you know that the option you chose and the beneficiary can sometimes be changed after retirement? They can, but there has to be a qualifying event. You may be able to modify your current retirement payment option and name a new beneficiary after a qualifying event, such as the death of your lifetime beneficiary. if you get married or enter into a domestic partnership, or the dissolution, annulment, legal separation, or termination of your marriage or domestic partnership, if you're awarded 100% of your retirement. If one of these events occurs, you can request a modification of original election at retirement. When you add or change a payment option beneficiary through this process, your current retirement benefit is reduced to fund your new beneficiary's possible future benefit. How much it's reduced depends on your original payment option and your new beneficiary's age and life expectancy at the time of election. Before you can make an election to add or change a payment option beneficiary, you must obtain an estimate of your new retirement allowance. To do this, go to your MyCalPERS account and follow the prompts from the Retirement tab to change retirement benefit. You'll be able to create and save estimates based on different life event and beneficiary scenarios. You can then elect to make the change online, or you can print and mail us your signed election document. You'll need to submit supporting life event and beneficiary documents such as a marriage certificate and/or beneficiary birth certificate to process your request. If you choose to modify your original election at retirement, your new election is irrevocable. However, should you have a future qualifying event, such as the death of your beneficiary, you may be able to modify your allowance again and name a new beneficiary. When your modification of original election at retirement takes effect depends on when we receive the required forms and documentation to process your request. If you make an election to change your original retirement selection within 12 months of the qualifying event, the change takes effect the first day of the month following receipt of your completed election. For example, if you got married on September 1st, 2019, and you submitted your completed election document on October 15th, 2019, the effective date of the change would have been November 1st, 2019. If you make an election to change your original retirement selection more than 12 months after the qualifying event, the change does not take effect until 12 months after you make the election. For example, if you got married on July 1st, 2018, and you submitted your completed election document on February 12, 2019, your deferred election effective date would be March 1st, 2020. By law, both you and your new beneficiary must be living on the election effective date or the change cannot be processed. A lump sum benefit is a one-time payment paid to your named beneficiary upon your death. You can add or change a lump sum beneficiary at any time. It's important to keep your beneficiary designation up to date, and you can do so through your MyCalPERS account. You can also submit the form Post-Retirement Lump Sum Beneficiary Designation, which is available online and also included in our publication, Changing Your Beneficiary or Monthly Benefit After Retirement, which is publication 98. If you change your lump sum beneficiary designation in your MyCalPERS account, the change takes effect immediately. If you submit the form, the change takes effect when it is processed and will mail you an acknowledgement letter. Your existing lump sum beneficiary designation will automatically be revoked if you get married or enter a registered domestic partnership, or with the dissolution or annulment of marriage or termination of domestic partnership. And finally, the birth or adoption of a child. If no valid designation is in effect at the time of your death, your lump sum death benefits are paid to your statutory beneficiary in the order determined by law. We just discussed changing your lifetime beneficiary and naming someone else, but what if you just want to remove your lifetime beneficiary and not name anyone new? You can remove a lump sum beneficiary at any time, but you can only remove a lifetime beneficiary under limited circumstances. If you named your spouse or registered domestic partner as your lifetime beneficiary, you may only remove him or her if you get an annulment in which the court confirms the annulment, or you get a divorce, legal separation, or terminate your domestic partnership and you are awarded 100% of your CalPERS retirement. Otherwise, he or she will still receive a monthly lifetime benefit upon your death. To remove a former spouse or registered domestic partner, send us a written request along with a copy of the court document validating your annulment or the judgment that awarded you the full interest in your CalPERS retirement. If you name someone other than a spouse or registered domestic partner as your lifetime beneficiary, you may remove this beneficiary only if he or she waives entitlement to your benefit. To remove a non-spouse or non-domestic partner beneficiary, they must submit a written request, and then we'll send them the non-spouse or non-domestic partner disclaimer form. Their signature must be notarized and the form returned to us for approval. Unlike the modification of original election at retirement, removing a lifetime beneficiary does not change your retirement allowance. So let's talk a little bit about estate planning. Proper estate planning can ensure that the assets that you've accumulated over your life are protected and will stay with your loved ones after your death. Estate planning tools may include wills or trusts, durable powers of attorney for non-CalPERS related assets, and a healthcare power of attorney or proxy. Additionally, an advance directive is written to express a person's wishes regarding medical treatment, and a letter of last instructions can provide information regarding funeral arrangements, individuals to notify, and other information. It's important to understand that CalPERS cannot offer estate planning advice. We recommend that all of our members work with licensed estate planning professionals when deciding to start the estate planning process. In this last topic, we'll discuss what needs to be done when a member, beneficiary, or dependent dies. Anyone can report your death to us. Reporting the death can be done by phone or in person at one of our regional offices. There are a few things we'll need to process the death notification, including the name and social security number or CalPERS ID of the deceased, the date of death, the contact information of the surviving spouse or registered domestic partner, closest next of kin, or executor of the estate. If there is a surviving spouse or registered domestic partner, we'll also need the date of marriage, their date of birth, and social security number. Last, we'll need the contact information of the person reporting the death. After your death is reported, we'll mail the death benefit publication and forms to any beneficiaries. The publication and forms cannot be downloaded from our website and can only be mailed once the death has been reported. In order to claim death benefits, each beneficiary will need to complete and submit the claim forms, and someone will need to submit one copy of the death certificate. An original copy of the death certificate is not needed. A photocopy will be acceptable. The death certificate must state the manner and cause of death in order for benefits to be processed. Beneficiaries will be notified if we need any additional documents like marriage or birth certificates. If your beneficiary or survivor passes away, we need a copy of their death certificate, even if you choose not to name a new beneficiary. A death certificate is also needed if your health or dental plan dependent passes away in order to remove them from these benefits.
I want to take one last opportunity to tell you that this video is available on our YouTube channel. You can access our YouTube channel through our website, www.calpers.ca.gov, or directly on the YouTube website at www.youtube.com/CalPERS. Our presentation today was intended to give retirees a refresher on their CalPERS benefits. To reinforce the information you've received today, I encourage you to take one of our member education classes. Enroll in your MyCalPERS account under Education. Please note that CalPERS is governed by the Public Employees Retirement Law. The information in this video is general. The retirement law is complex and subject to change. If there is a conflict between the law and the information presented in this video, any decisions will be based on the law. Later today, you'll receive an email with a short evaluation. Please answer all the questions, as it is important for us to get your feedback to help us improve these presentations.